We did it. We did it. Here we are. Hi, soul friends. Thank you so much for patience. Maybe that should be the theme of the day. Patience, patience. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are a longtime soul friend, I'm thrilled to have you here. And if you're joining me for the very first time, welcome. I'm thrilled. And I hope that you will subscribe. In fact, just speaking about subscriptions, that's an important part of our live stream. Please make sure you're subscribed. And within 1 minute of subscribing, you can join us here in the chat section. So I look forward to that. Hi, everyone. And to that, a couple of house rules. If you are writing something to me, it always helps if your name is not in your official YouTube handle. Give me a nickname or your initials at the start of your comment. And I just like to be able to refer to you some way. So that's important. Also, kindness only in this room. The channel is growing, and I'm very pleased and very excited about that. And with that, it has more exposure. There's a lot more people that are checking in, and mostly it's all been wonderful and kind as always. But we've got a few trolls out there. So if there are any in the room, please make sure I have, I'm notated, notate that in the comment section so I can put a block on that because we are making sure that this is very safe space for everyone. All right. Hello, Paul. Hi, Brenda. Yes, I figured it out, Brenda. Hi, Declan. Hi, everyone. Hi, Tess and Cheryl and Gina. I've seen so many of you pop in. Hi, Val. It's good to see you. Hi, Phil. Welcome in, everybody. And, thanks again for taking time out of your day, wherever you are in the world, whatever time it is. We all have a lot going on in our lives. So thank you for being here and showing up. We are going to talk a little bit about anger today. I hope that doesn't make you feel, afraid of the subject because it's actually a really important subject around healing. And tonight's journey that we'll post at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is about releasing anger in a safe way. Anger has a really bad rap. People are often really afraid of that feeling, and they never really were told or had it modeled that it was okay to feel anger. And it is okay. It is okay. Sometimes moments in our life and events that we're going through warrant that. And so I want to help you to release it in a safe, gentle way. We're going to do that tonight together. But for now, I want to just hold a little space around that. So before we go any further, I'm just going to pop over and say hi to some of you that are popping in now. Hi, Claire. Thanks for coming in. So good to see you, my soul friend. Hello, hello. Oh, Peace, thank you for saying that. I'm really, really glad that you enjoy the channel. That's really great. You're welcome. Hi. Hi, Bert. Thank you so much for sharing your name. And I appreciate that you're looking forward to this. I really think it's going to be something super transformative. And we are going to approach anger in a very unique way tonight. So I really look forward to hearing from all of you in that comment section of that video. Let me know how that sits with you. I really held very intentional, caring space for you all to work through that together. Okay. Hi, Enzo. Nice to have you in. Oh, Val, I'm so glad. I really am so glad to hear that you have felt so much value in this community. And I certainly have. This community is over 11 years strong. And some of the people right here in this room have been here about that long. So it's a really beautiful community, great pillars of kindness and care here. And as I always say, please feel free to kindly respond to each other as well. If something resonates or you want to just add a little bit of care to what someone is going through, great. I think that's always a really beautiful thing. Yes, Cheryl, thank you for reminding everyone to press the like button. I just don't think, those that watch YouTube really understand the significance and the power of that. That like button is really, really important. And it's a big way to send a message to YouTube to say this was effective or supportive or helpful to me. I valued the content here. You don't have to place a comment below, although I love comments and I really work very hard to reply to as many as possible. Because I love that deeper, more intimate connection with you. But if you're not someone who's really into commenting, just a like means everything. It really does. And I see a big difference when a video has more likes. So thank you for that. Hi, Davy in Ireland. So glad to have you. Now, there is a 2-minute delay on all of the comments, and that's just to give everyone an opportunity to come in. If you do see that maybe somebody's been trying to ask and I haven't seen it yet, take a step back and allow me an opportunity to try to get to as many people as possible here. Thank you so much. Hi, Steph. Good to see you. And thank you so much for leaning into support systems here. It's been so nice to get to know you more personally. Oh, I love a good skeptic. Joe, hi from South Carolina. It's really good to have you. And I appreciate you so much being here. I think it's really cool when people try things that don't automatically feel like something they may be interested in, or maybe they have doubts around whether or not it would work. I think that's a very cool thing. So thank you for being here. It's nice to have you. The really interesting thing about hypnosis is that there are so many different types of inductions and all different types of practitioners, and we all do it differently. So if you've experienced hypnosis with someone else or in some other arena, and it just didn't feel like your vibe, it's perfectly okay. You could still try it here or try it somewhere else, and you may feel something totally different. So that's what's really fun about hypnosis. Um, okay, Minnesota. Hi, Ariel. I think that's your name. Nice to have you. Hello, my soul friend there in India. Nice to have you. Thanks so much for being here. I just had a one on one session with someone in India yesterday, and it was lovely. Um, oh, Gina, how tall am I? That's a really fun question. I always appear much taller than I am. I have a long neck and long arms and long fingers and long legs and long toes. So I've always my whole life people have thought I'm quite a tall person, but I'm not. I'm just about 5'5". So I'm not a very tall person, but I look tall. That's what I hear anyway. Um, and yes, you are welcome to ask questions. I have a couple questions for you all as well. So, and then just as people are coming in, I'm just enjoying getting to see you. And a new subscriber from the UK. Nice to have you. And is your name Steve? I'm going to deduce that from your YouTube name. It's really nice to have you here. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, sweet souls. Hi, Andrew. Yes. And I think you, Andrew, have really tapped on something that I wanted to make sure we were holding space here very carefully in this room today. Um, this is never going to be a space that is spiritually bypassing. So, as much as I want to be careful, and I will always be careful with how I word things, I want to make sure everybody feels safe here. I also want to acknowledge that around the world, people are feeling very, very heavy, heavy things in their heart. Um, it is not lost on me that we may all need to feel like we need to come in and take care of each other a little bit more, to have a little more tenderness, a little more softness, a little more healing. We're going to need that right now. We are going to need to lean on each other. And I really thank you for bringing that in. Thank you so much, Andrew. Oh, Steph, you're 5 feet. Oh, that is a very cute um, height. That's great. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Yes, Declan, thank you for sharing that, the wars and the violence creates anger. It does. We feel angry because we feel helpless. Sometimes we can feel hopeless. And I want to hold space for us to talk about that today. If you're feeling anger, and maybe it's quiet anger, maybe it's loud anger, it definitely can manifest itself in different ways within us. Give me a fire sign, a fire emoji. I'd like to just have us take a quick little glance, so we can understand how many of us here are really feeling that kind of energy within us right now. Hi, Peter. It's really nice to have you. I'm so glad that the channel's supporting you. Hi, Josh from Pennsylvania. Mm, yes, Val, you bring up a really good point. A lot of times we feel that the modeling of anger when we were children around us makes us feel like anger is something that's bad or scary or violent. And anger is not meant to be that at all. Anger is, in fact, meant to be a tool that we use to assert our voice, stand up for ourselves. Maybe it's to enact justice, to protect someone or ourselves, our boundaries. So, anger is a tool. But I often say it's much like a match. We use a match, we light it, and we use it to then light a log, right? Or light a candle wick. It's not meant to be something we hang on to. And if we hang on to that match too long, it burns the tips of our fingers and it goes out and it's no longer useful to us. So you can think of anger in the same way. It is a tool, but it really should be something used briefly to manage what is that anger telling me? What message does it want me to understand? Or what boundary does it want me to set for myself in my life? Oh, the German in me had to do a quick conversion. Yeah. Okay, got it. And I hear you saying you're 6'3". Okay, so you're a taller person. I need you when I can't get up on those high shelves in the grocery store. Oh, Julie, it's great to have you. Okay, and we're seeing some of those fire signs in the room. People are feeling angry. We're going to talk about that. And again, what the difference is between the quiet anger and the loud anger. There are different variations of anger within us. Misty Moon, thank you for subscribing. Oh, and you're going to school for hypnotherapy. That's great. That's fantastic. I'm so glad to hear that. Yes. Steph, that's exactly what we're trying to do here. Just hold space for people's feelings and emotions. It's a lot, right? It is. Paul, thank you for saying that. I'm so glad you enjoyed the latest video. That's great. And I really hope that you'll enjoy the one that I'm be posting for you tonight. And hello, my soul friend there in Wales. Okay. So if you have any questions at all, you're welcome to ask them. We'll have questions open. And my question for you is, if you are feeling anger right now, what character would you give your anger? Is it like a little gremlin? Is it a grumpy cat? Is it something else? Is it some sort of soap opera drama star or a movie character that you can think of? I want to just kind of start light. Let's go with that. And I'd really love to hear what you guys would say to that. What character would you give the feeling of anger that you can feel sometimes inside, and you may feel it right now? Afraid that if you show your anger, that people will turn against you. You've held it in so long that your chest started to hurt. Yeah, yeah. It's a really, really powerful, energetic emotion. And so it needs a way to be validated, processed, and released. And if not, it starts to move into our body. It will find a place to land. And you've already done a lot of the work just knowing where it lives in you. So you've mentioned that you're feeling your chest hurting. That's a very common place for anger to live, but it can also live in the digestive system. It can live in backs and shoulders. It can live in hands and feet. It can live in the neck, the head. It can even live behind the eyes. There are places in the body where it will be, and you may already intuitively be feeling that, even as I'm saying that right now. Where in the body is your anger living? It will find a place to land if it is not processed um, in its rightful time. Yes, the world needs love, Claire. So much of that. We just have to clone a few million of you, and maybe we could get a little more of a loving world. So many people here in this room right now that I've gotten to know personally are just wonderful souls. You really are. And if I could clone you all, I would. We need a world that is just so much more caring and kind. We need a world where we can not other anyone or anything, and that includes the animals. Animals are no less than us, not at all. So, when we other people because they live in a different place or they follow a certain religion or they look a certain way, the othering is probably the most harmful thing that we can do to each other in this world. We must see all of us as one, brothers and sisters. Mm. So you're talking about getting angry when people don't do things that you perceive to be the right way. My OCD generates my anger. I bet there's people in this room who could understand that. Absolutely. I think that that is a very understandable feeling. When we get really set in our ways and it can feel like, hey, let's just make this easy and do it my way. There are lots of different ways to do any one thing. And um, I'd love to help you to release that, to release the anger around that, and to allow people to have the autonomy to try it their way, even if it's a way that takes them longer or maybe isn't quite as tidy. That's okay. That is okay. Thank you for sharing your experience with anger. That's so important here. Anger is a mask for frustration at times. Yes. Yes. So anger is often an umbrella. What is really underneath the anger? In many cases, that could be sadness, grief, right? We feel angry because, and then you can fill in the blank. Angry because you were a child who wasn't protected, wasn't heard, wasn't prioritized, didn't feel safe. Then you feel angry about that. But the anger is based in the pain, the pain of that betrayal. So anger is often an umbrella, and it can certainly be one for frustration. You're absolutely right. Oh, thank you so much for saying that, my soul friend. I don't know your name, so I'll just say Summit Singh. That's your YouTube name. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. My emotions are just a little loud and kind of big. Yeah. Okay, so when you feel something, you really let it out. It's an out loud, expressive emotion. And I know that there are a lot of people who express that way. And sometimes it can come as a burst, and sometimes it can be a lead up. So let me know more about that. Does it feel like it simmers for a while, or does it feel like the moment you're feeling it, you let it out? Hi, Legendary Gaming. I'm glad you caught me live too. Thank you so much for being here. Anger management has been a lifelong issue for Rick. I've learned to think before I respond. That's a good one, Rick. Boy, is that a game changer, right? Even 10 seconds. 10 seconds. Zip your lip, take a beat before you say the next thing that comes out of your mouth. It's a really, really good practice. And I'm glad you're starting to do more of that. I really hope it continues to help. Lisa, you keep your anger in until you break. So, see, anger was never meant to be something that hurt you. And it's certainly not supposed to ever be used to hurt others. That's not what anger's ever trying to do. So it's going to be really important for you to take the journey tonight, Lisa. Okay, so that we can safely release the anger that's there so that it's not hurting you. We don't want that. We never want that. I'm really, really glad that you've shared that with us. A lion, an engine. So some of you are expressing what your anger, what kind of a character that would be. I think that's great. Yeah, a lion. I'm a Leo, so if I get to that angry place, I often say, "Oh, there's my lion. There's my lion." So I can understand that. An engine, or someone says here, or tornado. Anger feels very destructive. Hmm. And that again is because the anger wasn't validated and processed at the time that it started to emerge. And so when it's not given that space, it hunkers in. It can grow roots, and then yes, when it finally does get released, it can be a much bigger, more destructive event. And I know that's not what you want. Am I fluent in any other languages? I was, as a child, fluent in both English and Spanish. I was a foster child. So, in one of my foster homes, the one I was living in the longest, they were 100% Spanish speaking. So, I spoke only Spanish for that year and a half or so. But once I was adopted, we didn't speak Spanish, and I forgot the language. I can speak it as far as, I know some words here and there. I can say a few things, but I'm in no way am I even close to fluent in it anymore. So I'm pretty upset about that. But I have made it my goal in the next couple years to actively relearn the language. I would love to, and I'm a San Diego born and raised person, so it feels like wrong not to speak Spanish living in Southern California. Hello, Jonathan in Mexico. Glad to have you. Mine is like the Hulk. Yeah, Declan. I think other people could probably relate to that as well. Oh, Steph, good question about hypnotists ever being used by law enforcement to help victims remember smells. I think that was much more common back in the day. They don't do that quite as much anymore because we've learned more about hypnosis and we understand how it works, the kind of modality that it really is when it's used for healing. To have people kind of be regressed back to certain memories is tricky. It's very, very tricky. And because of the trickiness of it, because there can be false memories that are created, law enforcement uses that kind of modality less and less. It's not that it can't be used that way, but you have to be really, really careful. Great question. Thank you for asking it. My character as a horse is, and I'm a Sagittarius. Great. I love that answer. That's good. As a child, I was uh, shown a lot of anger, so I actively trained against it. Now I find it difficult to show and feel anger even when it might be warranted. Jens, yes, Jens, that is it, my soul friend. You've hit the nail on the head there. That's exactly what happens. Oftentimes, as children, we just are not shown that that's an okay emotion because it is a big, big emotion for children, and they don't totally know how to process it, how to express it. And so, because that can lead to tantrums or outbursts, and because children are trying to be managed to be mindful, quiet, calm, anger is generally not something that is supported. Also, on the other side of that, often parents and guardians will show anger very quickly and really without boundaries around that emotion. And so There can be some physicality around it. There can be some really fear that's driven in the child through that anger. And so, because oftentimes parents haven't done their own work around anger, the modeling is very scary. And because the fear around anger, we grow up to bottle it up and try to push it down and not hurt others as others hurt us through their own anger. So, really great that you mentioned that. Thank you so much. So, if your anger was trying to ask you to set a certain boundary in your life, what would that be? Just one word answer is good, or a brief response would be just fine. If your anger was asking you to set a boundary in your life, what would it be? Gina, you feel like a fussy baby with your anger. Nothing feels right. I don't even know how to get past it. Okay. Yeah. Right. So you're really reverting to the inner child, who just so very much wants to be understood and to have your emotions and your needs validated. So that's a really common response. That instead of pushing into a very loud anger, you revert, you go inward and you go so deep that you connect to the inner child. And at that time, your inner child is in the driver's seat. That's a really common response to anger. My autism spectrum makes me angry. Okay, I'd love to hear more about that. Yes, anger is a strong energy that needs to be tamed and channeled into something positive. Exactly right. So that's the entire reframing around anger that we were going to do tonight. The hypnotic journey helps you to understand the tool that anger really is, that it is truly there to set you free from people who are pushing in on your boundaries, or from any injustices, or just using your voice to advocate for yourself or for others. Anger is supposed to help, not hurt you, not hurt others. So we will be, um, creating some big positive shifts around the idea of anger. I hope all of us can tonight. Yes, Brenda. Yes. So, yeah, exactly right. Other emotions that trigger anger. That's right. And in many cases, it will be sadness, despair, frustration, hopelessness, outrage at what you're witnessing, something that is so unjust, unkind, that can lead to feelings of anger. Not being able to remember stuff like names. That's a common one. It can be hard to remember names. I try to do some, you know, little games in my mind when someone tells me their name. I really try to repeat it 2 or 3 times silently in my head, and I think about something that might rhyme with that name, or I think about someone else that I know that has that name that I can associate. So I'm trying to play those little games to help you to remember, and also know that it's okay to re-ask. I think sometimes we think that there's some shame that we should feel around that. Oh, I'm really sorry, I don't remember their name. It's okay. I think we all sometimes need a refresher on people's names when we're just getting to know them. So please give yourself that permission to say, "Could you remind me of your name again?" And, you know, and that's perfectly fine. Everybody can understand that. Gnashing teeth, heart racing, my anger is valid due to family discussing actions during my stepdad's death. Gaslit, pressure to forgive. Yeah. So there's a lot of family stuff going on there. Um, and your anger is it's in there. It's really been living in there probably for a very long time. And so now it's manifesting in a way that's hurting you. The gnashing of the teeth, the heart is racing. You don't have to carry this anymore. And I want to also assure everyone that letting go of anger doesn't mean that you no longer hold people accountable for betrayals or hurts or things that they've done, um, that have caused you pain. That you can let the anger go and still set appropriate boundaries, still hold people accountable in the ways that you need. Both things can happen. I've always felt drawn to monsters. Being a large guy, I can scare people when I express my anger, so I hold it in. Okay, Rick. And I really have to say that I appreciate sort of your ability to just witness that. You know, the size of your body, how that might come across to others. You know, if you were to loudly express anger, I think is important, and that shows a lot of care, that you're really concerned to make sure that everybody feels okay and safe in your space. But we also want to make sure that you're getting your emotions processed and validated. So if you can find a private place for yourself to let that happen more often, not let it build up to a place where it feels a little more out of control, or impulsively released, that's going to be the key for you. But how lovely that you are really recognizing that you really want people to feel safe around you. I think that's a beautiful trait. Anger is the path of least resistance for people. It takes effort to be calm. That's a really good way to put that. Yeah, sometimes just letting that outburst happen can feel cathartic in the moment, but it's not helpful in the long run. And allowing yourself to take a few seconds to just breathe and know that the anger that you're feeling is something that is your responsibility to process. And you can do that in safe places and safe ways. It doesn't need to be something where it's this big outburst in a public setting or toward people that have no relation to why you feel the way that you do. That's very well said. Peter asks, what challenges you, Janie? What do you struggle with? That's a great question. And I think why I appreciate that question more than anything is that I always want to show up here humaning with you all. I have never, ever been the hypnotist that would be up on the high chair looking down on everybody and saying, I've got this all worked out. You guys figure it out. I'm right here with you. And I come with the lessons I've learned, and I'm still learning. I'm still growing right along with all of you. And I would say that probably one of the biggest lessons for me in my life is boundaries. I have had to learn that right along with you. Now, over the last few years, there have been some big shifts in my life around that. And boy, does it feel good and liberating when you really let it all click in. And it's been a process over many, many years of trying this, trying that, adjusting here, pivoting there. I think I finally found a good sweet spot, but it has taken years of practice because it was not something that was in any way valued in my life as a child growing up. Boundaries were not acceptable. So I've learned them, but it has taken time. And I'm so glad to be here with you all to hold your hand and lead you through whatever boundaries you need to set for yourself now, no matter what, no matter who it is. You can do it. It's life changing. It is. Thank you, Peter, for your question. Ghost Girl, I'm glad you're here too. Thank you so much for popping in. Oh, we've got another Leo in the house. Great. I'm so glad, Julie. Hmm. We're very much the same. Yep. Every once in a while she roars. Yep. Absolutely. It's, you just it's so important to learn that nice balance between advocating for yourself, speaking up for others, making sure that justice and boundaries are these are solid pillars in our lives. But not getting to that place where there's some explosion or some sort of an outburst. It's really best if we manage things before we get there. And I've had to learn that too over the years. I've never been someone who really loses control. But as a younger person, I certainly, uh, hadn't totally mastered the, let's take care of this and manage this before it gets to that point. Oh, Jenny, that's lovely of you to say. Thank you so much. Morning Laughter says, I've been writing a book, and many of my characters are based on aspects of myself. And one of the antagonists very much embodies my anger, someone who is sick of the state of things and turns bad. And I imagine that must be very healing and cathartic for you to write this out and to give your anger or different parts of you a voice, a story, a place to land. That's awesome. I love that. I love writing and I love poetry, and I've used poetry a lot in my life to express a lot of those emotions myself. So, how wonderful. I wish you so much luck in writing your book. Archie boy, it's good to see you, my soul friend. And I know it's late for you. Thank you for coming in. I'm so glad. Okay. Anger feels like poison. Yeah. We hold it in too long, it absolutely can feel that way. And it starts to affect our body. So, the silent anger is when you start to feel really fatigued, or you just start disconnecting from people or from yourself, or you just don't do the kinds of things that used to bring you joy. These are ways that anger is there, very, very much there, but quiet. And it's festering, and we don't want that for you. No one needs to fester in their anger. Your anger is trying to help you to set boundaries or to hear a message that you need to hear, some little tiny pivot in your life that may help you and make things a little easier for you. Okay, Pam, I grew up with a lot of anger. Now I'm a people pleaser and seek approval from all those around me. hmm I lived my life for a long time that way too. So I'm a recovering people pleaser. I get it. I really, really get it. And leaving that, you basically retire from that. You quit. You say, I quit. I am not the people pleaser in my life or in the life of my friends and family anymore. I'm just not going to do that. This is a self loving act, but it's also one that feels like jumping out of an airplane. You know you have to do it, you want to do it, that life just can't keep going this way, where you are backburnered, where you silence yourself, where you grit your teeth and just move into spaces just to make others more comfortable or appease them. It is not the way to live your life. You've got to jump. You just have to jump. And it may start with just a one step of just writing people in your life and saying, Here's my new boundaries. Here's the rules. I need you to respect them, and just take every little step that you can to move out of people pleasing, because it is a trap and it does never feel good and it never takes care of you in the way that you deserve. Okay, so now we're getting some of the messages coming in. Messages that your anger is trying to tell you not to be bullied. The message around isolation, trust, respect or lack thereof. We have a soul friend here saying, cutting off those I love, but it hurts. Yet I don't see how else I can heal. I can understand that. I have had to make some really tough decisions in my life as well. And it is one of the most painful things and yet liberating things to do, because if those relationships, you've tried everything that you can, every which way you can to help them come to a place where everybody it gets the respect that they deserve. Um, if it's to a point where the same patterns, toxic patterns continue no matter what, no matter how many conversations, then you may have to set some firmer boundaries. And that may be a low contact or no contact situation, temporarily or indefinitely. It does hurt. I know it. I know it hurts. But take care of yourself and follow your intuition on this. And I'm just sending you a big hug because I know how that feels. I really do. Declan, you're going to think about that question a little more. I'm glad. I'm glad you're going to think about what message is your anger trying to show you. My anger and spite has been like a disease, like so many horrible things that have happened. Um, mm, you're hurting so bad. I feel that. I feel you. I know. I know. Deep breath. Yeah. You've gotten to a point where you feel like it's not going to get any better than this. So I would just rather it stay like this, because if it gets any better, I'm not going to trust that better. I'm going to believe that it's, the shoe's going to drop again on me. I want to tell you this. This is your life. Every day is precious. Every day is an opportunity for you to choose and choose and choose. And every choice you make, every second of every choice is designing your life. You are just building it more and more and more. And it can get better, much, much better. It can feel much more calm, joyful. You could have more love, more connection. You can. We just have to break the chains of feeling like we have to please others, follow some sort of social constructs, um, lead by other people's examples. Well, what do you want? What do you need? And it's okay to make those changes. It's okay to believe that it can get better and lean into that. And I promise you, it can. It can. Okay. Someone has been kind of trolling and nasty on my YouTube the last few days, and I think they just came into the room. So I put a block on them, and we'll just keep an eye. We'll keep an eye on that. Somebody has a lot of time on their hands. Okay. Claire, sometimes I'm not entirely sure if my anger is anger or if it's upset, and vice versa, because I usually cry when I'm angry or get angry at myself when I cry. That's exactly it, soul friend. That's a really good point to make. It's they go hand in hand, don't they? So oftentimes we're angry because we're hurt. And sometimes also crying is just a nice way for anger to try to find its way out. They've done tests on tears, all kinds of different tears. Let's say the kind of tears we get when we have allergies, or the kind of tears we have when we're sad, or the kind of tears we have when you get makeup in your eye or something. They've tested the tears and they're different. They are different when they are tears that come from emotion rather than the tears that come from some sort of an external, environmental thing. That's powerful. That is proof that the tears that we cry when we feel something, it is a way for our bodies to release those emotions. Those tears have actual emotions in them. Let yourself cry. Let the tears come. It is your body's way of saying, "Oh, I got all this stuff in here. I need it to come out." So let yourself cry. I'm a big fan of crying. I don't cry a lot, but when I need to cry, I let myself cry, and I'm always grateful for it. I'm sorry you're feeling so much fear right now, Lisa. I think there's a lot of people who can understand that. And hopefully, connecting like we're doing here and knowing that you have communities, I'm sure you do in your life, and certainly you have this one here that you can count on. And that's my biggest goal is to make sure that we can take care of each other, show up for one another. This space will be consistent for you because I always want you to feel like no matter what's going on in the world or in your life or in your home or in your heart, you can come here. Not to take it out with passive aggressive comments seems to be my go to. Oh, good one, Gina. Good one. And I think a lot of people can understand that. Okay, so passive aggressiveness, right? So that's you wanting to get some things off your chest. But sometimes people can use that passageway. They think it's a softer way for it to land. Um, it's not. It's never the softer way to land. And in fact, it doesn't help the listener to really hear what you need to say. So I hope we can work on that together because I want you to be heard. I want what matters to you to be heard and validated. And the best way to do that is to approach directly. Now, you may need 20, 30 minutes or more to get to that place where you can directly approach that person, but give yourself the opportunity to do that. Okay. I'm sorry for the troll in the room, you guys. It's that same person. They create like the other day, they created like 25 different YouTube handles. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Every time I would block them, they would just make a new one. And I can't tell if this is a young person or just a very immature person, but we're just going to keep blocking them. Okay, to release anger, you have to have an output channel. Right. Music, writing, painting. Yes, absolutely. Please share your creative outlets with the group here. That's a really important thing. As we talked about that a few minutes ago with writing, but these are great ways to get things out of your system. My autism spectrum gets in the way as a person who is 41. Um, I do stuff that people who are 41 and people try to take advantage of. I'm sorry if you have been taken advantage of or feel that you've been taken advantage of. I'm really sorry to hear that. You don't deserve that in one way. Um, so again, setting boundaries, figuring out what that looks like for you, so that people don't have the opportunity to take advantage of you. And there are certain people in your life who may not be able to have that kind of access to you as easily. So think on that. Hi there. I've listened to your hypnosis videos. They're very calming, but I think it's impossible to be hypnotized unless I'm under anesthesia. I think what's so important, and there are a lot of people who have that belief system. And what I would say is this: hypnosis is going to feel different for everyone. And I think one of the biggest challenges for people around hypnosis is that they come in with an expectation of what it should feel like, what it should do. And it's just going to be different for everyone. I'm a deeply suggestible person. The first time I was hypnotized, I was 18 years old. It was the orientation week at my college. And I was the most hypnotized person on the stage when the stage hypnotist brought 20 people up. But I remembered every single thing that happened, every single thing. And it was very contrary to what I believed, what I knew about hypnosis. Everything I'd seen in movies, everything I had ever been shown had told me that I would black out. I wouldn't remember anything. I would have no control over my body. That just wasn't true at all. So hypnosis is it's an interesting thing. It's going to look different person to person, and I would just say to come in without expectations. Let yourself be however you are, and that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes it's just a matter of relaxing, and if you feel relaxed, that's a win. That's a win. The last time I spoke with about an issue with my mom, 97 and a half years old, she said, "I'm sorry you feel that way." Mhm. I can understand that, and that does not feel very validating. I know. I know. I'm sorry. You deserve more than that. I am glad that you took some time to share with your mother, no matter her age, um, what you needed to get off your chest. I'm glad you were able to share that. Okay, Gina, please say everything will be okay with the war and high prices of everything makes me scared, helpless, and angry. What I can say is this. It's the only thing I can ever come back to in the hardest times. As I always think about Fred Rogers saying, in the hardest times, look for the helpers. And there are wonderful people, helpers, kind people, brave people, good neighbors, good friends, good communities, kind communities. That exists always. And there are things that are going on that are outside of our control. There are people in power who are making decisions that I know the majority of us would never dream of. So we have to just bind together, take care of one another, be gentle on ourselves. And I know that there's always change, that nothing stays the same. So even this will pass. At some point, it will pass and it will feel lighter. It will feel easier. Right now, I know it doesn't, not at all. Deep breath. Somehow it will be okay. And okay is a broad word, but we'll be okay. We will be okay. Hi, Frank. I'm so glad you're here. Hi, Lloyd. I'm so glad you've enjoyed the videos. That's great. Oh, and I'm sorry. And you were saying, Arlo, you were saying you don't do things that people your age normally do. That's okay. You can do whatever you want. It's your life. And what do 41-year-olds do? I mean, I know 41-year-olds and they do all kinds of different things. You just be you. You just have fun and just live your life the way you choose. That's a beautiful thing. You passed out in a cafe due to dehydration. It's taken a long time to overcome the anxiety that it could happen again and you're 70. Your body was asking you to pay attention to something that maybe can come on um, when you're not having enough fluids. And so it was really just a message. And if you take that as a message, you can thank your body and say, okay, thank you. I understand now how I need to adjust so that that doesn't happen again. Your body is not conspiring against you, it's conspiring for you. It wants to help you. And that is the message to say, alert, alert, alert. I need more fluids. I need to be more hydrated through the day. That's a good thing. It doesn't want to put you in that position again. It does not. So I think you've taken in the message. I have full trust that you are absolutely hydrating better. I think you're going to be okay. You're going to be just fine. I sent you a big hug and I'm glad that you've got that message, I think, loud and clear now. And it is it's a fix that, you can do. John, thank you so much for your donation. I really appreciate that. You say your rage gave you psychosomatic pain, felt like there was a burning crown on my head, left side of my body. Mhm. Took you months to stop feeling it. I really hope you're coming to watch the video tonight, John. I think it's gonna be a really, really helpful one for you. Clearly, you even call it rage, so your anger has really amped up, to the highest level, to the hottest level. It needs a way out. I wanna hold that space safely for you tonight. I really do. Thank you so much for being here. How do you let go of the anger towards someone who's really hurt you? I'm in no contact with this person. It happened for 2 months, but the resounding damage has been physical and emotional. I think because I understand and I've had to do some of those sorts of things in my life too. The anger lessens when you start taking care of yourself better. When you set the boundaries, you have less to feel angry about because you're finally doing the thing that anger's been asking you to do all along. The anger is what we feel when people just have full access and, we're just getting hit from all sides. Setting the boundaries allows us to start to heal by regulating our system again, surrounding ourselves with people who are safe and kind and caring. And believe me, it takes time. So you're just about 2 months into this boundary setting, and that's fantastic. But notice over the next few weeks and months, you will feel less and less of that anger. And tonight's work, the video I will post for you, I really believe will be a big leap in that healing direction for you. I know that wasn't easy to set that kind of boundary. I'm sending you a big, big hug and deep understanding for what you've been through. Okay, we're going to go about 5 more minutes here, everybody. I'm going to try to get to as many of the comments as I can. Um, so let's see here. Let me just. Abandonment hurts. So many people have abandoned me in my life. Abandonment does hurt. It does hurt. But it's also a message. It is a message. It's saying those are not your people. There are billions of people on this planet, and there are so many right there in your community, in your world, and even with the internet like this, all around the world, who would not abandon you, who would love to be your friend and to be in your company. So when we have people abandon us, it's kind of like they've done the work for us. Got it? Noted. You're not my person. And you let that go. You breathe it out and you look for the people who will be right there at your side. I've been realizing lately how I give away my authority. I shrink a little. Yeah, like a little baby deer. Yeah. Are you ready for something different? And if so, what would you embody instead of the little baby deer? Envision what that is. Well, what would you be if you were opposite of the little baby deer? Don't give away your authority. Don't do it. Don't do it. You are so powerful. The biggest disease we carry is the disease of amnesia, forgetting who we are, forgetting what we are, forgetting our own power or giving our power away. Heal from that. That's not how your soul wants to live this life. And no one should have that kind of authority over you. You're a powerful being. Remember who you are. Hi, Arthur. I'm so glad that I could calm you down. And I'm really hoping that our time together will help you to have much more peaceful dreams. Mhm. You imagine sucking a lemon to overcome the dry mouth sensation and panic attacks. That's a fantastic. Well, and that's hypnotic work right there. That's really, really great. I love that tip. Thank you for sharing it. Oh, King, I'm glad that that resonated with you. I really am. When I'm angry, I shut down and go no contact. I feel like sometimes a no contact or low contact is the only necessary step, but I always say if there's a way to try to use your voice first, try to say what you need to say, and hopefully there's some level of people being held accountable or validating how you feel or coming to some sort of an agreement of how you can move forward in a safer way together, then I always say try if you can. And if you can't, set your boundaries and do whatever you need to do to feel safer and feel calmer in your life. Hi, Olivia. So glad to have you. Tears when you hear truthful epiphanies lately. Yeah, that's your body saying, that resonates. That's great. Hi, Mark. I'm so glad you popped in. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. I'm just scanning the last. So if you could hold off on any more commenting, I just want to see if I can get a few of these people responded to, these lovely souls. Music is the best. Yes. Yes, you're seeing the trolls. Yes, yes, yes. I don't know if you can report them if you see them on the comment section, but somebody's out there doing this lately, and I've been spending a lot of my time getting them off. So if you can report them, if you see anything nasty, I don't know if you can, but I always appreciate that. Thank you, Gina. Um, but it's so few and far between. I am so amazed that as the channel grows, it still continues to just be so lit up by the most beautiful souls. And that's what I see and that's what I feel. I'm so grateful for all of you. Thank you, Folk Fusion. Thank you, Cheryl. Thanks, Rick. Art and music, yes. Ross, I'm so glad to hear that you've been feeling so supported here. Okay. Thanks, Marie. Being cut off mid sentence makes me bite my lip and yeah. And then you forget where you were. Yeah. We all talk too much. And everybody wants to just get their words in and get their thoughts out. And our minds are thinking so many things and so quickly. We're processing so fast. Take a deep breath. I think it's hard. I know. I know. And I appreciate that you've shared that because I think a lot of people know what that feels like. Well, you've all been just so wonderful, every bit of you. Thank you, Lloyd and Olivia. Change happens. Thank you, Jayni, for all that you do. Andrew, thanks, Andrew, for being here. You're so very welcome. Oh, thank you. Yep, this is a shirt, and it is a new sparkly shirt. It is like a night sky. Thank you for saying that. All right. Okay, everybody. Hi, Darren. Brenda, that's a great question. Clearly, they don't. Clearly, they don't. What a way to spend their life, right? I mean, it's like getting a ticket to this world to do anything that they want to do with it, and this is what they're choosing. It's quite something. All right, everybody. Well, listen, and thank you very much. Thank you. The indecisiveness. What a generous donation. I really, really appreciate it. I really, really do. You're so lovely. All of you are. Riddler, hairstyle, crispy perspective. Thank you for reporting the trolls. Keep doing that. Thank you all. Thank you, everybody. And I will see you tonight. It will post at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Um, and I'm really, really looking forward to having you all let me know in the comments how that landed for you. So thank you for being my soul friends. We'll do another live again next month at the early part of the month, and I'll let you know what date that is as we get closer. So keep your eye on the community tab. I'm sending you all a big, big hug. Please enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend. And until next time, everybody, continue to journey within. Big hugs. Bye bye.